Hey guys, welcome to the All Rise After Show Season 1, Episode 9, How to Succeed in Law Without Really Trying. We have tons of topics to talk today, starting with Lola's past haunts her. We have a possibly ill client, and we see our first loss. Stay tuned with the All Rise After Show.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz.
Hey everyone, welcome to the All Rise After Show. I am your host, Zuri Shalise, and I will be hosting by myself today. I also have three other lovely panelists who couldn't make it today, so it's just us. So feel free to hop into the chat, and we'll get the show started. Let's start off with our first, but we will have our news and gossip. We won't have our typical weird court cases, but I do have some juicy news and gossip for you all today. Let's start off with our first topic. Let's start off with a possibly mentally ill client. So when the show first started, we were introduced to the wood chipper case where Mr. Dewitt he conspired to put Judge Gore, who previously put him in jail, he conspired to put him in a wood chipper. Now, Emily got this case as a public defendant, and he took us on some roller coasters. First, he said that it was therapy. Then he said that, okay, he was getting therapy through the internet. And then it comes out, then he also decides to share that he is mentally ill. And he is completely riding the mentally ill train all the way to the court. And he almost was due to see a psychiatrist before Emily said, actually, sir, no, thank you. We're not going to play these games with you. So we see our first case kind of lost, but Emily kind of wanted to lose it because he was going to be not so great for our reputation. But in the same breath, in the past, we've talked about Luke kind of helping Emily win her cases. And not once, but twice, Luke kind of he kind of guided her to the answer. So let me know how you guys feel in the chat about that, because I know that's something that myself and the panel have talked about a few times. So did Luke help Emily lose this case, or was it kind of a dud before it even started? And also, if the client actually did have a mental illness, do you guys feel that this case was handled properly from the beginning? Should he have had a psych evaluation in the first place? Should people who are attempting to murder someone take a psych evaluation in the beginning? Because if he was mentally ill, or from the beginning, I don't know if this would have been the correct way to handle this case. But we can move right along because, like I said, although Emily technically lost this case, it was for the better. Let's move on to Miss Lola. So this episode, we don't really see Lola actually have her own court case, really. We don't see an actual back and forth. We just kind of see the plaintiff and the defendant going at it, but we don't know any juice about the case. So we can start with Miss Maggie. I personally was not a fan of Miss Maggie. She was snippy and out of line to me. She interrupted Lola consistently, and you could kind of tell from the beginning that she wasn't really Lola's number one fan. And when Lola actually apologized to her, my jaw dropped because I don't think that she deserved it. But moving on, we get introduced to Miss Felicia Bell, also known as Lola's ex-nemesis. We know that they were in law school together, and Lola beat her quite a few times, and she's just not over it, and she's come back for more, and Lola served it up for her again. So in this case, Mark has a case that was once Lola's of Mr. Cody Koppel, who bombed a bookstore and ended up killing Mr. Mendoza's daughter, also known as Angel Mendoza. And the case was tried back when Lola was a prosecutor. He lost. He got sentenced to lifetime in jail with no parole. Somehow this case is back with the same Miss Felicia Bell supporting him, and they're back for more. And this time it's Mark's turn to make sure that this guy goes to jail forever. And it was also a hate crime. So we see for the first time, Mark is actually sweating. I think this is one of the first episodes that really evoked a lot of genuine emotion. We got to see the characters actually look like they were going to crumble under pressure. And that's something also that the panel has talked about in the past. When are we going to see them struggle? When are we going to see them sweat? That was this episode. Mark has his new law clerk, also known as Samantha, who was passionate, who I think actually played a huge role in this case because she was really supportive and she was very confident in herself. So I think that forced Mark to actually step up and, well, I think Mark always steps up, but it was nice to see him have that support that he obviously wasn't expecting. And we ended up, the verdict was the same. He ended up going to jail for a lifetime. And this time, actually, Miss Felicia invited herself to Lola's courtroom quite a few times and was giving us a sassy every time. I don't know if you've ever disappointed your mom and she didn't really have something nice to say, but she chose to not say it at all and she just gave you a Yes, Miss Felicia was in the stands giving us a plenty of those, maybe trying to get in Lola's head because it comes out later that Miss Felicia was an aspiring judge. Maybe she still is. I don't know. Maybe she's lost too many court cases to even be considered. Maybe, but she visits Miss Lola's courtroom and Miss Lola's office and she gets in her head for the first time. Lola starts doubting herself, but she did say something about Lola that I really appreciated. She said, "You believe what you are saying as if it was right." And it just made me wonder throughout my life if I could just go through life believing. Well, of course I want to believe the truth, but when it comes to things that could be scary or could make me doubt myself, though I'm capable, what if I believed it as if it were already true? How successful would I really be? So that's a nugget for you guys out there on a Monday night. Believe it if it is true. Believe it like it already is true. But Lola comes into Mark's office and is spreading her doubt like wildfire. And again, for the first time, we see some headbutting between Lola and Mark. Generally, it's all fun and games, gentle banter, and even a little bit of flirting, but not this episode. Well, at least not in that meeting room. Mark pretty much dismissed her and said, "No, thank you. I'm going to have to find a way to win this case on my own." Which, like I said, he did. So good thing he didn't feed into Lola's negative drama because the fingerprints were inconclusive and he was kind of sweating. But thank you to Mr. Choke, who ended up telling the truth. And also, had he told the truth in the first place, we wouldn't even be here. But, he said he was on meth at the time. He was under some heavy pressure. He was also an alt-right. So thankful that he's found the kids and he's found God, and that Mr. Choke is doing a lot better. Also, Emily gets a roommate last semester. Last episode, we saw her struggling. She was staying with her nephews. And although some of the experiences that she was having at home helped her with her court case, we got to get Emily in a safe adult space where she can actually think and do her job and not be stressed out and tired. So she's actually rooming with Sarah, which, as you guys know, if you are consistent podcast listeners to the show or viewing us on the live stream, you guys know that I'm ready for some spice. So hopefully we get some spice with Sarah and Emily sharing the same space. Speaking of podcasters, I just want to say thank you guys for supporting AfterBuzz and supporting this show. If you're listening right now, give us a 5 stars on iTunes and give this video a thumbs up. Leave us something in the comments. We love reading your comments. If you're in the chat, I appreciate you guys all in the chat. The chat is going crazy. So yeah, just appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow Shantier, Princess, and Alexis, although they're not here. We appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you all as well. You can also catch me on the Black Lightning after show on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. If you're a DC fan, that show goes crazy, so make sure that you tune in. Let's see what else I have in my notes. I feel like it was a really packed episode, but they tied everything up so well. I think this was one of my favorite episodes just because it wasn't so happy-go-lucky and it wasn't too dark. They danced on the line perfectly of what was too happy, too easy versus what would be too far. I did like at the end the vegan jerky. I have a question for all of you vegans out there. So I know last week I shared, Simone is from Detroit and she's also vegan. If you guys didn't know, our Lola Carmichael is a vegan, and she gives a piece of jerky to Mark, and he says this stuff is not even good. She says, but it tastes just. Oh, he says it's not even good for you, and she says, but it tastes just like jerky. Now, in the space of veganism, which is probably at an all-time high these days, a lot of vegan people and non-vegans also may argue that though it may not be made with animal parts or may not necessarily be, unhealthy, it may not necessarily be taken from an animal and all of those things. Is it healthy, right? So some vegans may only eat French fries. Some vegans may only eat vegan cake. Like, just because it's vegan, is it healthy? That is the question I have for you all today. So I have a ton of questions for you on this Monday. In my personal opinion, no. I found that a lot of my friends who were vegan, or a lot of our favorite celebrities who were vegan, they've had to take back, or they've had to kind of make their own health modifications because they weren't getting the nutrition that they need, or they were eating too much soy, and just a number of different things, right? Our bodies are so intricate, and I wish that we all could come with a manual and make it all easy, but there you have it. Make sure you leave in the comments, is vegan always healthy? We have so many things to talk about here. But let's move on to our news and gossip. Yes, AfterBuzz TV news. So this week for our news and gossip, as you guys know, is my segment every Monday night. Did you all know that our very own Sarah, also known as Lindsay Mendez, and our very own Sherry, also known as Ruthie Ann Miles, were close friends back in the day, and they're obviously close friends now. So both of them actually came from Broadway in New York. They're both Tony Award winners, which is like the highest award you can get in Broadway. They actually moved to LA together to support each other's dreams and becoming in front of the TV screen and not on stage on Broadway. So they both have husbands and families in their Tony Awards back in New York, but they're here following their dreams, supporting each other, which I think speaks to, so I was expecting there to be like some friction between the two of them, but maybe it's just years of like sassy remarks and it's just so natural, because I'm like, this looks kind of passionate, but it's actually natural. How about that? Moving across the country with your close friend to follow your dreams, and they're not 16 years old, they have full families, and they said, you know what, I have a dream and I'm gonna go after it. So shout out to Lindsay and Ruthie for that. It's so inspiring, and now it also gives us an inside look on why they have so much chemistry together. As far as predictions go for this
Your
week,
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
yes, thank you, JLo. As far as our predictions for this week, I think that Sarah is going to kind of intervene in Luke and Emily's relationship now that Emily's going to be living there. So I know we've also been waiting to see some of Emily's life outside of the courtroom. We get a lot of this show in the courtroom. We don't often leave. I think I can only think of a few times, and even in the court case, we left, but it was still doing work. So hopefully now that Emily lives with Sarah, we'll be able to see a little bit more of home action. You guys know I'm still waiting for Sherry's frisky action. I also noted that Sherry is getting more comfortable. So I don't know if you guys noticed in the beginning when we first got to see Miss Felicia, Lola kind of was drinking her coffee in the doorway, and Sherry kind of peeked in and was drinking her coffee too. I'm like, okay, Sherry's loosening up, and I think that she's one of my favorite characters on this show. So now that she's loosening up, hopefully, even her and her bae that we saw a couple of weeks ago, maybe it'll get spicy. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for being here with me on my first solo moderated show. Be sure, like I said, to comment in the comment section. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube at Zuri Shalise. That's ZuriChellece. I don't think we have a show next week, so I'll see you guys in 2 weeks out. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.